Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving straight into Google's brand new experiment, Stitch.
Stitch, yeah.
If you're a UI designer, maybe a software developer, and you're looking for ways to get projects off the ground faster, this could be really interesting.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've all felt that friction, right? Between the design idea and then actually, writing the code.
Right, the handoff.
Exactly. Stitch looks like it's trying to tackle that head on, make it, smoother.
So our goal today is to really get under the hood, figure out what Stitch actually is, how it works, the key features.
And what it means for you, basically, if you're a dev or designer wanting to kickstart something new.
Yeah, and the promise is pretty bold turning, like simple prompts or even just pictures into complex UIs and front-end code in minutes.
It sounds almost too good to be true, doesn't it? So let's start there. What exactly is Stitch? Where did it come from?
Okay, so it's fresh out of Google Labs, an experiment. And what I find kind of cool is that apparently it wasn't some top-down mandate. It grew from a designer and an engineer working together.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they were trying to make their own lives easier, optimize their workflows.
That often makes for the best tools, doesn't it? When they come from solving a real, practical problem someone's actually facing.
Totally.
And it's built on Gemini 2.5 Pro. That's key.
Explain that a bit.
Yeah.
The Gemini part.
Well, Gemini 2.5 Pro is one of Google's big AI models, and it's multimodal. That means it can understand different kinds of information together, like it can look at an image and read text describing it and connect the dots.
Ah, okay. So it can process more than just words.
Exactly, which is crucial for something that needs to understand visual designs and text descriptions. The whole point seems to be making that journey from idea to, something tangible, much more fluid, less clunky.
Right, a more integrated process. So, okay, how does it actually do that? What are the core features?
Well, there are a few really interesting capabilities they've shown. One is generating UI just from natural language.
Meaning you just type.
Yeah, you describe the app you want in plain English. I want a meditation app with a calming blue palette or whatever. Include details about the user experience. And Stitch generates a visual interface from that.
Wow. Okay, that sounds useful for just super early brainstorming before you've even sketched anything.
Precisely. Just talking your idea into a visual form almost. Quick ideation based purely on concepts.
Okay, what else?
It's not just text. You can also feed it images.
Like actual pictures?
Yeah, or design sketches, maybe screenshots of UIs you like, or even rough wireframes. You upload that image.
Okay.
And Stitch processes the visual information to create a corresponding digital UI.
So it tries to replicate the look and structure.
That seems to be the idea. It bridges that gap between an early visual, maybe even a hand-drawn sketch, and something digital you can start working with.
I can see that being really helpful, taking those napkin sketches and making them, real-ish, digitally, anyway.
Exactly. And that leads right into the next bit, rapid iteration.
Because design's never right the first time, is it?
Never. So Stitch is apparently designed to help with that. It lets you generate multiple variations of an interface quickly.
Oh, okay. So you could say, show me this, but with a different layout, or try these other components.
Kind of like that, yeah. Experiment with different layouts, components, styles. Much faster than mocking up each one manually.
So you can explore more design options without getting sort of bogged down in the weeds too early on one specific version?
Right. Explore more possibilities, less upfront investment in each one. Efficiency.
Okay, that sounds good for designers.
Yeah.
Now the crucial bit, the bridge to development, the code. How does that work?
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting, especially for developers listening. They talk about seamless pathways. First, there's a paste to Figma option.
Ah, Figma. Okay, that's smart.
It's very smart. Figma's everywhere in design teams. So you generate something in Stitch, then you can paste it directly into Figma.
Which means designers can then take it, tweak it, collaborate, maybe integrate it with their existing design systems.
Exactly. It slots into that existing workflow.
Okay, that's one pathway. What's the other?
The other is exporting front-end code directly.
Actual working code.
That's the claim. Clean, functional front-end code based on the design Stitch generated. So you're not just getting a picture, you're getting a starting point for the actual UI build.
Wow. Okay. Do we know what kind of code? Like React, Vue, HTML, CSS?
The announcements I saw didn't specify the exact frameworks, but the promise is functional front-end code, which, could be a huge time saver.
Definitely.
Right.
Cutting down that initial build time. So the tech behind this, we mentioned Gemini 2.5 Pro. Is that the only option?
Well, they actually mentioned users can choose between Gemini 2.5 Pro and another model, Gemini 2.5 Flash.
Flash. What's the difference, likely?
Usually, models like Flash are optimized for speed and efficiency, maybe slightly less powerful or nuanced than the Pro version. So you might choose Flash for really quick, basic ideation, and Pro for more complex generation or when you need higher fidelity.
Okay, so some flexibility there depending on what you need.
Good. Yeah. Options are always good.
Now, this all sounds great in theory. Have we seen any, like, actual examples? What has it been used to build?
Yeah, good question. TechCrunch reported on a demo by a Google product manager, Kathy Korvek,
Okay.
and she showed off a couple of concrete things. One was a responsive mobile UI for like a book app.
Right. Standard app type.
And the other was, get this, a web dashboard for managing a beekeeping operation.
Beekeeping.
Seriously.
Seriously. Which kind of shows the range, right? From consumer apps to pretty niche specific tools.
Yeah, that definitely paints a picture. Okay, so for people listening, developers, designers, they're probably wondering how this fits in, like compared to tools they already use.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How does it fit into the existing toolkit?
Right.
Well, The Verge pointed out that the automatic code generation part, it does overlap a bit with things like Figma's own Make UI feature.
Ah, okay. Competition there. Potentially. Or maybe complementary. The Verge also suggested Google might see Stitch partly as a way to keep designers in their ecosystem, especially those who maybe tried out Gemini for code assistance before.
So maybe pulling designers closer to Google's AI tools. Makes sense.
Could be. But it's important, Kathy Korvek apparently stressed this, Stitch isn't meant to be a full replacement for Figma or Adobe XD.
Ah, okay, so not an end-to-end design platform.
No. It seems much more focused on that initial phase. Ideation, quick prototyping, getting that first chunk of code out the door fast. Think of it as a powerful starting block.
A jumpstart tool. Got it. So it accelerates the beginning, not the whole race.
Exactly. And you also have to see it in the context of all these other AI coding tools popping up.
Yeah, feels like there's a new one every week.
Totally. TechCrunch mentioned tools like Cursor, Cognition, Windsurf, OpenAI's Codex. Stitch is entering that growing field of AI, helping with UI and code. This whole idea of vibe coding seems to be gaining traction.
It really feels like a shift is happening in how we approach building interfaces.
Yeah.
Any hints about what's next for Stitch? Future features?
Yeah. One potentially cool thing Korvek mentioned is a planned feature where you could modify a UI design by taking a screenshot of an element you want to change and then just annotating the screenshot with your changes.
Whoa. So like draw an arrow and type, make this button blue.
Something like that. It sounds really intuitive, right? A very visual way to give feedback and iterate with the AI, almost like talking to it visually.
That does sound pretty slick. Very user-friendly.
Definitely. And one more quick related point, Google's also been expanding access to another AI tool called Jules.
Jules? What's that?
It's more of an AI agent for developers. Helps with debugging, apparently can help upgrade code versions, create pull requests, stuff like that.
Ah, okay. So Stitch for the front-end UI kickstart, Jules for maybe more back-end dev tasks.
Yeah, it suggests Stitch is part of a bigger picture, Google weaving AI deeper into the whole software development lifecycle.
Right, it paints a picture of AI becoming a much bigger partner in those early stages, getting ideas off the ground. So let's wrap this up. What are the key takeaways for, developers and designers listening? What are the main benefits if they decide to try Stitch?
I think it boils down to speed and reducing that friction we talked about.
Right.
So potentially much faster initial UI creation. Makes it easier to just see your ideas quickly, try things out.
Got it. Speed of ideation.
Yep. And then that smoother transition. The Figma integration is big for designers fitting it into their flow. And for developers, getting that functional front-end code export that could dramatically cut down the time usually spent translating static designs into working code.
So less manual translation work.
Exactly. Meaning you get to the real coding, the logic, the tricky parts, maybe faster. Designers see functional stuff sooner, developers get code sooner.
So the big aha moment is really about compressing that front end of the project, using AI to handle a lot of that initial UI groundwork, both visually and code-wise.
I think that's it. Lowering the barrier to getting a prototype up and running, letting you focus your human energy on the harder problems earlier.
Makes sense. So if you're listening and this sounds interesting, you want to check it out?
You can actually try it. The URL is stitch.withgoogle.com.
Stitch.withgoogle.com. Got it. And also, keep an eye on Google I/O 2025.
Yeah, it actually starts tomorrow, May 22nd, as we record this. So there might be more news, more details about Stitch coming out very soon. Worth watching.
Definitely. So maybe a final thought to leave everyone with.
Yeah, I think it's worth pondering. How might tools like this, like Stitch, really change how designers and developers work together? Does it blur the lines? Does it change the conversation?
Good question.
And maybe even bigger picture. How could this kind of AI acceleration impact the sheer speed at which new software ideas can actually come to life? It feels like things could get a whole lot faster. Something to think about.